Good afternoon. My name is Sally Zohni. I'm Egyptian and I am passionate about women's rights and addressing gender equality in my country and in my region. And 2 days ago, we started celebrating the International Day to End Violence Against Women in the context of the global campaign on ending violence against women that goes until 10th of December every year. And this is a very important opportunity that we get the chance to discuss the status of women, to address the issues that we find important, the priorities, the challenges, and most importantly, talk about violence and discrimination, abuse, and inequalities. And I want to use this opportunity to share with you briefly about the different forms of violence that exist, not only in my country, but worldwide. It's basically either physical violence, sexual violence, or emotional violence. Usually we talk about physical violence. We find it very clear to address and it's very visible to all of us. Sexual violence, it's much more difficult to talk about. There is domestic violence, there is female genital mutilation, very widespread in Africa. We have also child marriage, early marriage, seasonal marriage, sexual harassment, domestic violence, intimate partner violence, and lastly, and most importantly, emotional violence. This is the one that usually goes undercover, that we don't see every day, and that happens every day to every woman. And research shows that emotional violence usually goes in without being noticed. Women do not see it as violence. They see it as dynamics in the household. They see it as relationships. But this is not okay. If you are subjected to any form of abuse, emotional, most importantly, you should know it, you should talk about it to your partner, and if you can't, you should report it, either to family members that you trust, to civil society, to a hotline, and if you need answers by lawyers, please do so. Please know more about your rights. This is very, very important. It is no secret that violence against women affects women's ability to go out, to go to school, to go to university, to go to work, to have access to public places. It affects their daily lives. It affects their ability to have income and to be free to make choices and decisions. And Egypt is not an exception. Violence against women in Egypt is present everywhere, yet we have very strong legislations currently that take in place what it means to be subjected to violence, how to report violence, and how to report abuse. Violence against women is not a secret. People understand when this is violence. They see violence in the streets, they see violence in the neighbors' houses, and they can hear violence. But do they understand the magnitude of violence and the impacts of violence it has on the lives of women and girls? They understand, do they, that when a girl is subjected to violence in her home, she is unable to perform at school, or if a woman is beaten up or humiliated in front of her friends, that she can't go to work and focus? And do they understand that when the girls and women are subjected to harassment, they can't be in public place, they can't take the buses, they can't drive their cars safely? And this is when awareness comes in. Not only awareness about violence in general, but awareness about specific impacts of gender-based violence on the everyday lives of women and girls, and how it affects their well-being, their psychological well-being, their nutrition, their health, their physical well-being, and their mental well-being. An important question: how to realize you are in an unhealthy situation and what you can do about it. And I think every woman understands when she is not feeling comfortable, when there is no consent in any form, in any action that she takes. No consent to be touched, no consent to be talking to someone, no consent to be hugged, no consent to do any act, either sexual of nature or not. And this is the very thin line that defines unhealthy relationships. This can be a work relationship, a friendship, an intimate partner relationship, family relationship, any form of relationship where you don't feel you are approving the acts, where you don't feel comfortable, when you feel threatened, when there is any kind of risk any kind of bargainship that you had to make, any kind of threats imposed to you, either directly or indirectly, this is an unhealthy situation, an unhealthy relationship. And what you can do about it is to basically be aware that it's unhealthy, admit it, and be very conscious about it. If you can't escape this relationship, do not be part of it. If your boss is harassing you, leave the room, leave the office. Have witnesses, have people backing you up, have people who are aware of the context, who are able to support you, that you can call on the phone, that you can reach, that you can scream at. Most importantly, know the hotlines in your country. Know the police, know where are the nearest offices near you, where are the local NGOs around you, know where you can reach them, be in touch with them, and ask for advice, ask for guidance, have your family's support, have friends around you, do not be alone. The worst thing is to be subjected to violence all alone and hide it for yourself. This makes you sink in more in the relationship and more into violence and cycles of violence. And if you are a parent, if you have children, this makes them also at risk of violence and deeply affected. Even if they don't see it, they are affected by the violence that you are facing. This is a very important discussion. In Egypt, we don't have yet a legislation that criminalizes violence against women in the workplace. Yet, very important companies are starting to write in policies that protects their employees and their customers from different forms of violence in the workplace. And these are pioneers in what they do, because we need more like them. We need more legislations like this that make it a national mandate and make it a national buy-in that all women and girls are protected when they are in the workplace from any forms of abuse by their bosses, either sexual or financial, or any form of pressure or risk. What you should do about it is A, talk to your supervisor if your supervisor is not the one perpetuating violence on you. B, talk to colleagues. Number 3, note down whatever happened to you, the dates, the details, where you were, what time was it, and you need to have a memory, because when you want to report, you might think you would remember it all, but certainly you will not. You might drop very important details that might come handy to the investigation process, and you need all that written down somewhere. If it's regular form of violence, then this will be very important for you. If it's one time, be very alert to that person. Do not be alone with them. Do not make it difficult for you to escape physically. Have the door open, be close to the door, be close to the security exits, be close to the gates. And most importantly, be very firm and strong to say no to any form of violence if you can. Push that person away, make an eye contact, make a physical appearance that you are not approving any form of abuse, any passing of their limits that you are facing.